Hey, book babes. I'm Aubrey.
And I'm Peyton.
And today we are reacting to the top 60 books of the past 5 years, according to Goodreads, and seeing just how many we've read.
Yes, so drink with a cup of coffee as we dive between these paper sheets.
Let's do it.
Alrighty, welcome everyone to this week's
Hey.
episode. So because of the structure of this episode, this is non-spoiler. If we've read some of these books, we're not going to spoil any of them. Don't worry. If anything, we just may say like, yes, you have to read this book, or like, I don't know why this is on the top.
That one's not for you.
This one's not for you. So this is an NS episode. No spoiler. Do not worry, girlfriend. We got you.
The 60 top books published in the last half decade, according to Goodreads members. This particular list is strictly by numbers. We counted up the number of times Goodreads members marked these books as want to read, currently reading, or already read. Then we looked at the average ratings on each title, with all of these books earning at least a 3.5 average star rating from fellow readers.
Wow, that's like direct statistics.
Yeah, they crunched the numbers on this one. They did the STEM marketing. We're going to count to see how many books we've read on this list, and you guys can let us know how many you've read as we go through. I've peeked at the list. I've seen it. It's been floating around like Instagram stories and a few TikTok sounds. So I know a little bit that's on here, and so I'm hoping we should be able to do fairly well. The books are sequenced according to overall popularity without regard to genre or categorization. As such, for now, the top one is The Silent Patient, most popular book overall. Interesting. So this is like the definitive ranking too.
That's great. So are we going to start at 16, work our way down, or are we going to start at 1?
Ooh.
I mean, we already know what 1 is, but...
1 is, but close our eyes and scroll to the bottom.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm like not even just scrolling. Okay.
I got to the comment section, so I scrolled too far.
Got it.
Oh, there's 2 books below 60. I don't know why those are there.
Wait, I don't see those. That's hilarious.
You know, it says like Crying in H Mart and
Oh,
Demon Copperhead.
No, I think the numbers are on top.
Oh, the numbers are on top. I'm just an idiot. Perfect.
No,
All right. Looking at the bottom 4.
Yes. We have Demon Copperhead, which is a newer book. Only because going into Barnes & Noble, I just remember that came out. I've not read that, but I know people really liked it. Crying in H Mart has been on my TBR for a very long time.
Really? You're part of the numbers, babe.
I know. It's on my what to read, so I feel like I'm part of it. The other 2 I've literally never heard of.
No.
Such a Fun Age and American Dirt. Sorry.
Next 4. Oh, okay. So we have some romance heading up. Twisted Games by the Anna Huang. I know that my mom has read those books. And they're supposed to be like smutty as fuck.
Smutty.
I think that might be the last one in the series, but my sister gifted my mom the first one for Christmas last year and was like, this was the smuttiest book I've ever read. It's a great time. And that is what she said in front of the whole family as my mom unwrapped that book.
I feel like there's a different cover to the
yes,
series,
they have the
and
white
little girls
like,
are buying it, and
yeah,
it's like girls like no 12-year-old should not be reading this book.
No, parents really need to be checking genre, and like if this is an adult romance, maybe it's not for your kid. Like, yeah, go to the chat books, go to the YA section.
There's enough romance in YA. In 5 Years by Rebecca Searle.
Yeah.
We read One Italian Summer by her in book club.
Oh.
Yep. So in 5 years, people like love this book.
Yeah.
So
I heard it's much better than One Italian Summer.
Yep. Oh my god, it's so funny because the next book here, if you have want to read, it's checked on my screen.
Oh yeah,
there's a mark. Carrie Soto is back. I swear I have it like right behind me somewhere. I've had this book forever and I would like to read it.
And then the last one, number 55, Every Summer After. I don't know that one, but I feel like it looks a little familiar, but it's clearly a good romance book, I
Yeah,
would
I went
assume.
to a book swap at book club and someone gave that one
Mm.
away. Yeah, and the name is familiar. I'm sure if I looked at her list, I would know. All right, we're finally getting
Excited.
into a spot here on this list where we can relate.
Yes. The next 4, we've read 2 of these.
Yes.
Next one is my favorite book series, The Queen of Nothing by Holly Black is showing up here. I don't know if all 3 could show up. I'm not entirely sure when they got published because this is in the last 5 years,
True.
but we can finally tally down 1 book.
Yes.
Queen of Nothing is book 3 in the Cruel Prince series. If you haven't read it yet, what are you doing? It
Yes, you
is
have to.
wicked and great prose. It has fae, but in the mortal world. It's very, very fun.
We have Christina Hanna who has popped off this year.
Yes.
The woman, she wrote The Nightingale, I believe.
I think so, yes.
I would be surprised if it's not on this list.
Yeah.
And then next, Lucy Foley, The Paris Apartment. I remember when this book came out. I got really mixed reviews, but I have
Mm,
read her book, The Guest List.
okay.
And it was really good. It was one of the first, if not the first book that I read when I was getting back into reading after high school, when I was in college.
Interesting.
So, like, cool,
So
I
maybe,
guess.
yeah. And then next we have Divine Rivals. We actually have a review of this one
Yes.
up for our historical romance with a dash of fantasy girlies. So we get 2 down. I really like Divine Rivals. Peyton a little less.
Yeah, I have mixed feelings on it, but, like, it's one of those books that I highly recommend to
Yeah.
certain people, so it's like
Mhm. Oh, for
it's
sure.
a me thing, it's not a Rebecca Ross thing.
Yeah. I think the prose is great. I enjoyed the romance. I just you can't go into it expecting, like, fantasy stuff. Even
Yeah,
though it's technically fantasy, it's
yeah.
airs closer to magical realism.
Yeah, I really liked the world and the setting. It was more just
Mhm.
so, like, I just didn't really connect with, like, the love interests
Yeah.
very much. That's a me thing, guys, it's all good. Next, Tessa
Ooh.
Bailey, have yet to read one of her books. All
Yeah.
the romance girlies, absolutely love them. I know they tend to be a bit spicy.
Yes.
This one is It Happened One Summer. I have not read it, though.
And that's number 50. So entering in to the next tens, we have for 49, Never Lie, and 48, None of This Is True. They both look to be that kind of like mystery thriller-esque genre
Yes.
drama.
Yeah, Lisa Jewell popped off this year too. Number 47, the numbers not being on top really freaked me out. Um,
Oh, wait, no, it is on top. I just was
okay.
backwards. We
Okay.
did talk about that. So number 45.
Number 45, Andy Weir, Project Hail Mary. If you've watched the podcast long enough, you know this is one of my favorite books.
Yes.
Absolutely have read this. It's such a good one, especially if you want to get into science fiction. Highly recommend. I heard a rumor that they just wrapped on filming this as a
Ooh.
movie with Ryan Gosling, no other than Ken himself. So, highly, highly recommend Project Hail Mary if you want to get a little science fictiony. Um, Moving on. We got a lot to
Moving
go through here.
on. Yes. Okay. The Housemaid's Secret. I have seen like The Housemaid and all of those. I think we almost read it too for book club.
Yeah.
Um, but I did not, but it's supposed to be very good. Then we have Haunting Adeline.
The amount of times this showed up on my For You page last year.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. My friend Neva, who's been on the podcast, has read this and she was like, it was crazy.
Chloe told me my sister not to read it. She said it's too dark. I'd
It's
probably get like
horny.
freaked out. Like I think heavy on the trigger warnings for that one. It's like a dark romance. I don't even know if there's fantasy truly in it. I mean, there's a skull on the thing, but
Yeah.
I think it's a very like graphic dark
It's just
romance.
yeah, all I know is that I think she gets SA'd and then this guy in the beginning, like first chapter, sends the person's hands in a box to her front doorstep,
Yeah.
and then like I don't know, guys.
I don't
I don't
know,
know. It
it
doesn't
gets
sit right with
crazy.
me.
It's not on our want to read, but if it is on yours, good for
Also,
you.
it's really
It
thick. Like
is,
it's
it's
a big
really
book.
thick, and I think it's, like, indie published. I'm pretty sure they
Yeah.
just, like, got put it in stores because of its popularity. I don't know, y'all.
It's on KU, so if you're into that, if you're
You could at
bored,
least give it a try,
give it a
but
try.
definitely check trigger warnings.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
I'm, like, not usually, like, high on that, but I think I would be too squeamish to read it
Yeah,
from
yeah,
everything I've heard, which is fine, something for everyone.
absolutely. Yeah,
Next is
true.
something definitely for me, which is
Yes.
number 42 is The Wicked King, book 2 of the Curl Prince series, and another book that I have read.
Yes, me too. I loved The Wicked King. I think I really liked the ending of this one.
Yes.
It was crazy. You have to read it. Without, of course, Colleen Hoover. She's on here. We got her.
Yep.
41. Have not read Regretting You.
Me either.
Christina Hanna's back at number 40.
Ooh.
The Four Winds.
Mhm.
And then the next one is Frederick Backman's Anxious People.
I've
Um,
never heard of that.
I have. It's for you neurodivergent people. He's really good at representing that
Mhm.
person. This book,
Yeah.
I believe it's there two people are in a bank and a robber comes in.
Oh, shit.
And yeah, I think this
Yeah.
book was really popular in like 2021. Um
Interesting. Hmm.
so anyways, I don't know. I know
Uh,
that he represents that community very well. He also read A Man Called Uva. So,
oh, yeah, I mean, I don't remember you talking about that.
yep.
Next, we have 2 book club books back to back for
Yes, we
us.
do.
Uh, remarkable reads with Remarkably Bright Creatures and
Yes.
Yellowface.
Yes.
I loved Yellowface, y'all. It is like a dark satire on the publishing industry and race, and Rebecca is just such a good writer, and it is something that is like reading a train wreck in which the further and further the main character June gets in her decision makings, the worse. You're just like, you're so stupid, but you have to keep like turning the page. Basically, she's an author, and in the very first chapter, her author friend, who's like a bajillion times more successful than her, dies, and she steals her friend's manuscript and tries to then publish it as her own. But her friend was Asian, and it's about Chinese labor camps in World War One or two. I forget which one. And so then she is like trying to pass herself off as like Asian or Chinese throughout this book when she's not. She is
She's
white,
not.
and it's super
Yeah.
complex. She's basically yellow facing,
Yep.
and it's a crazy read, y'all.
Crazy. Yeah, and it's a quick one too. So if you need a little palate cleanser and it's so dramatic,
Yes.
very fun. And Remarkably Bright Creatures was another read for us, and just a story about grief and what it means to live in this world when someone we love has gone. And there's different point of views. One of the point of views is from Marcellus and Octopus, very adorable. And then also a bit of a mystery happening at the same time. So you get a little bit of everything. Cry a little, like figure out a little mystery a little,
A
laugh a
little bit of
little.
this, a
So
little bit of that.
it's a great book. So
Found family.
Found Family, highly recommend. Next for The Perfect Marriage.
Okay.
This is a TV series slash
Yeah,
movie. That's
something. There's definitely
something.
an adaptation.
Yep. Have not read it though.
Mm-mm.
Eh,
Spanish Love Deception. I've
Have not read it.
also saw Make Its Waves. Did not read.
I was told not to read it from my
Oh,
friend.
okay.
So
So perhaps don't read it,
so
guys.
perhaps I
We're
don't
very
know.
qualified on this topic. We definitely know what it's about, and we definitely know that you definitely, definitely, definitely shouldn't read
Yeah.
it. Okay,
The
The
next
Maid.
two, The Maid. That's
Have you
one
heard of that one?
I've seen that cover so many
I've
times.
seen the cover. That's about it. On our want to read, we actually both
Yes.
own the physical book now. It's coming. in the next, like, 3 months at
Yeah, I've
least.
seen that one right there with the sprayed pretty
The
edges.
House in the Cerulean Sea by TJ
Yes.
Klune.
I'm excited.
Fantasy, if you guys remember, we read the book description of this and we're blown away, because it's, like, a bunch of different creatures and people, including, like, what was it? The Antichrist or
Yeah,
something,
yeah,
living
like,
in a
yeah.
house, but it's like a little gay romance of, like, the guy trying to take care of them. Spot on description. Continuing
Excited
on.
to read. Very excited to read.
Oh, I have such bad FOMO that I haven't read actually both of these books, but not really the second one. The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes by Suzanne Collins. I feel like I just missed my time on that. Like, when it came
Yeah.
out, I, like, wanted to read it, and it was on my TBR for so long, and I just never picked it up. Saw the movie, loved it, and I think I would still like to go back and read it. It's just one where, like, I never seem to have the time for.
Yeah, it's just one of those, it's like, I'll get around to. I've never been a big Hunger Games girly. I did
Yeah,
not
you
see
were
the movie.
Divergent.
Yeah, I'm a Divergent girl, so that was kind of like, they kinda competed there. I've seen all of them. I have not seen this movie yet. I've not read this
Ooh.
book, so I am the perfect candidate to be surprised if I wanted to. But, yeah, I kinda feel like I missed my time with it.
Yeah.
Um, the next one, Icebreaker. I feel like everyone has read Icebreaker. A
Yeah.
smutty romance
It
again, do not be fooled
started
by the
the ice
cover.
hockey romance.
Yes! This and that other book
Phenomenon.
that started cowboy romance, but hockey
Yeah.
romances were, like, the thing there for a second.
Oh
Uh,
my gosh, my husband Jacob just started a new job and he is a submarine engineer. He works for the government. He's in, this like classified secret whatever. I have no idea what he does actually. But he's talking to his coworkers and they're all, also adult engineer men. And the one guy, they're talking about his wife and he goes, "Yeah, she really likes reading." And Jacob, who's also a reader, is like, "Oh, what does she like? What is she reading?" And he goes beet red and he goes, I don't know how to say it, but she likes hockey romances." And he was so embarrassed for her,
Aw.
and I was like, "You should have told him and been like, 'Oh, it's fine. My wife reads fairy porn.'
Yeah,
So,
you should have been like, "Well,
well,
it's
actually, my
okay."
wife made me read this book about dragons."
And they fucked during it. Yeah, guys. Yeah, you know what? If you like hockey romances, girl,
Good for you.
and well, how cute for her husband to know that about her. You know what I
Yes.
mean? Like that's like that says a lot about him, even if he's like,
Mhm.
this feels
A
weird
little
saying out
embarrassed.
loud now that you ask.
All right.
uh, moving on, a book we have read.
Definitely. From Blood and Ash. Guys, From Blood and Ash is a really good book. I liked
It's
it. I
so
mean, it's not like
good.
it's a very entertaining story tell book. Her prose is not, her writing skill isn't exemplary, but the book is so good. The second book has one of my favorite fantasy things in it ever. And then the series declines
Guys,
rapidly.
like, read the first 3 maybe, and, like,
Yeah.
just honestly, just enjoy the first one for what it is.
Yeah.
I look back at reading this book with such happiness and
Mhm.
just, like, reading that from Blood and Ash, like, oh my gosh, it's one of those books
Yeah.
I'd probably reread because I loved it so much.
It's
I
got
just
such
have such a
strong
bad
nostalgia now.
yeah, if you've been following our JLA journey, we just have a really bad taste in our mouth about the whole series at this point. But wow,
Mhm.
to reminisce and remember that reading that first book feels so good. So I recommend the first book. But
Yeah.
like, viewer discretion advised, reader discretion.
It's a
You've been warned.
spicy romantasy. It follows our main girl, Poppy, who's the maiden, and she has, like, all these restrictions on her life, and she lives in a castle, but there's these, like I almost picture them I think they're called the Craven, they're, like, Walking Dead people, like, people are
Yeah.
turning into these, like, zombie monsters, and she's going out at night and, like, killing them and trying to save the world while she's, like, living this princess shelter life during the day, and there's the guard trope by Hawk, and he's hot, and that's all you need to know.
Yes, it is quite the story. Okay, moving
Yes.
on. We are on our top
Um
30 now. 29.
Ooh.
Wait,
Yes.
yeah, 29, The Vanishing Half.
Halfway.
This was very popular back when. I believe it was twins that were separated at birth, and one was
Oh.
raised in a very like affluent family, and the other one was not. That could be wrong. I feel like I'm spreading misinformation, but
That sounds like that what,
that's how.
ABC switched at birth?
Yeah, so that's how it was explained to me. Do not shoot the messenger. But I
I
was
believe you
interested in reading this
wholeheartedly.
at one point, and I think we must read it for book club. And I remember reading
Oh.
that in a description.
Hmm.
But the idea is really cool, and my friend also read this and really liked it, but I just never got around to reading it. Um,
Interesting. Next,
28.
we have The Inheritance Games. Peyton and I did read this book. It was part of the early days of the hardcover podcast, where we went to Barnes& and Noble and picked a random book off of the book talk table that they have there. It is a mystery where I think her name's Avery. She like mysteriously inherits a fortune and she has to go live in this mansion, and there's all these hot brothers and they have to solve puzzles together of like why granddaddy left her all this money. And
Yeah.
it's YA, it's fun. It was a very cute read. I actually own the next book and I just again haven't picked it up. But I think if I am crunching on my Goodreads challenge. I'm like 6 books behind at this point. So
Quick
maybe it's
quiet.
time to pick that up.
I feel you there, girl. Okay, 27, another Anna Huang, Twisted Love. This is what I think is the first book in the
I think
series.
so. Yes, it
Um,
says book 1.
oh, okay. Because I remember seeing these are different covers than that you'd see in Barnes and Noble.
Yes.
And then 26, the Unhoneymooners, Christina Lauren. Which, if you know anything about Christina Lauren, it's two besties that write books together. Love in Other
Oh.
Words is another really popular one of their books. So yeah, it's two, Christina and Lauren. It's weird. I know. Isn't that cool? Haha. So I haven't read
Yeah.
this one, but I have read the next one.
Yes.
25 is Sarah J. Maas's Crescent
Crescent
City.
City. Oh my gosh, guys. This first book I really enjoyed. It's got a little bit of a murder mystery in an urban fantasy setting. So there's like angels and werewolves and vampires and shit, but then they also have like guns and iPhones, and well, it's not called iPhones, but they have social media and
Yeah,
such.
so different.
I loved the ending of this book. I like was almost like I was brought to tears, and not in like a sad way, but in like a you go girl way.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
like there's a certain line that an old man says, and then he said it and I was like,
then.
book 3 sucked.
Yeah, book 3 was hard. All right, Lucy's score 24. Things we never got
Woo.
over. I heard mixed reviews on this. I know the second one
Mm,
is like pink, and things we maybe
yeah,
got. I
I
don't
don't know.
know, but all I know is these books were huge, and my cousin read this, and she was like, "That wasn't really that good." So, yeah, but it's on KU. 23. We have read. This is none other than Iron Flame by Rebecca Yarros.
Sound off.
We did like a whole series
Yes.
when this came out, so please go watch that if you
Oh,
are a
that was
Rebecca
so much
Yarros
fun.
girl. I know, I look back at those days with such happiness. But hey, we're gonna do it again because guess what? Onyx
Sonic
Storm
Storm.
is on its way to us, so
Yes.
stay tuned. But we
Oh, we
have
have to
read
go
this
to
one.
Barnes if you haven't already yet,
I
because we have
haven't. We
to.
need to.
So they're doing a midnight release party, but in order to attend, you have to pre-order the book with them, and then you'll get that book that night at midnight.
Yep.
So we need to do that. I'm sure for Fourth Wing is going to be higher up on this list.
Yeah.
I swear she's coming. So we'll talk about what this series is
I may
then.
have peeked and saw where Fourth Wing is. So give us a second.
All right,
Uh,
next, number 22 is I'm Glad My Mom Died by Jeanette McCurdy. I listened to this book and I really enjoyed it. I think that celebrity memoirs you should only listen to, you should not read, because they almost always voice it themselves.
yes.
And I think that makes it very special to like get that extra like parasocialness out of it and to really like their telling it and they're speaking the exact way they want it delivered. When this first came out, there were so many, like, snippets of it, especially when she's, like, talking shit on Ariana Grande, on TikTok that you saw. I listened to all these snippets and I was like, "I gotta listen to it." And I think it's totally worth it. It She's the salmon cat, iCarly
Yep.
star, and she kinda just talks about her life as a child star with an abusive mother.
I have yet to hear a bad thing about this book.
No.
So,
It's
read
good.
it.
The only thing I would say is a lot of people were like, "It was so funny." And she's funny, and she has, like, a very, like, dry, sarcastic, like, telling of it that I think a lot of people really enjoy. However, I would say that, like, it's sad. Like, it's not like a "I'm gonna cry" sad, but you're like, "Damn, yeah, no little girl should have to go through that type of
Yeah,
thing."
she,
And I
like, copes
didn't
with
I wasn't,
humor.
like, laughing out loud like some of the reviews acted like you would be.
Yeah. She copes with humor for sure. The
Yes.
next one is my personal favorite Emily Henry
Yes.
book, Happy Place. We read this last year.
Mhm.
Happy Place is such a good book. Happy Place is fake dating.
Yes.
It follows a friend group, and two people in the friend group are engaged. They broke up, but none of the friend group knows this. So they go for the last time to Maine at this cabin because their family is gonna sell it. So like
Mhm.
everyone, let's meet up in Maine. It's like this nautical, like mountain, like setting that's really pretty,
Mansion.
mansion, like lake house situation. And our two main characters have to act like they're still together. And yeah, it is such a fun story to read because they already have that
Yes.
history going into it, so it's
Mhm.
like this like second chance romance that you get to
Love.
read. I love this story. So good. And then you get like the characters of like the friends. And so
Mhm.
like that's something I always really liked in fantasy novels. It's kind of reading about like their circle and like
Yeah.
those characters, and it just makes the book more fun versus like here are two people and this is Emily Henry does a really good job at incorporating like a whole cast of characters. So it's more than
Yes.
just two people.
Her B plots are always very interesting, which is
Yes.
my biggest struggle with romance books is you get to the B plot, I'm like, "I don't care about their lives, I'm here for the
Exactly.
romance." But you do care about their lives, which is great.
Yes.
Alright, next we have number 20, The Last Thing He Told Me. I have seen this cover. I know shit about it. Do you know anything?
I believe I used to know a lot about this, but I think it's about a mother and a daughter.
Okay.
And I think like
Yeah.
daddy disappears or something like that. But don't worry, everyone. It's a series or it's a movie. That Hello Sunshine did, the same people that did
Oh.
Daisy Jones and the Six. So you can go watch it. This was really popular, and the girl who plays Agatha in
Mhm.
WandaVision, she
Oh,
plays
yeah.
the mom
Oh,
in
okay.
this, I believe.
Awesome. Speaking of adaptations, we have
Yes!
Red, White, and Royal Blue by Casey Quinston?
Quiston
Quinston?
McQuiston, yeah.
Um, I know you girlies are obsessed with this. This is the, like the furthest you can go for, like, enemies to lovers, kind of, but, like, it's still a contemporary. It's like the president's son and, like, the Queen of England's son or something like that, and they, like, fall in love, but, like, they're not allowed to be together because it's, like, the UK against the Americas, and they're gay, and I don't know. I didn't read the book. It looks good. Unfortunately, I did try to read
One
her
last
lesbian one, One Last Stop, and I couldn't get into it. I did not like her writing style. I thought it was boring as fuck. I got 25% into the book and the main characters like the main character had seen the love interest once.
Oh
They had
gosh.
one interaction 25% of the way in, and I didn't give that was one where I really just didn't give a shit about the B plot. It was like some mystery thing, and they were trying to figure out, like, some crazy thing that happened, a murder, or someone went missing or something. I'm just like, "This is boring."
I heard the same thing kind of about Red, White, and Royal Blue, but some people all obviously it got an
Yeah.
adaptation, so enough
Mhm.
people have loved it, and it's in our top 20. So,
Yeah.
she's doing something right. All
Maybe
right,
watch the
I'm so
adaptation
upset
first.
that I can't say I've read this book. Tomorrow. I've been holding
I
off because I
know.
got an inkling that we'll probably be reading this for book club, and I want to like
Mhm.
read it with people.
Yeah.
Um, this book, oh my gosh, I have had it for so long and I just want to freaking read it. And I want to go in a little bit blind. All I know is that it's about two kids who I believe go through like a cancer treatment together, but they have this
Okay.
shared love of video games and they like lose some distance or connection and then that gets brought in and it's just a story about life and grief and love and
Hmm.
video games and I don't I know that there's like a bigger overarching message here that I
Yeah.
honestly just don't really want to know because I want to go in blind.
Yeah. It's
I'm
definitely
choosing
like
that.
one of those, like, pulling on your heartstring books,
Right.
but I don't wanna know which strings yet.
Yeah, I don't know which drink. So I wish I could mark this as read, but soon.
Soon.
I have read the next one.
Yes.
If you are a Taylor Jenkins Reid girly, this is my personal favorite TJR book. It's just Malibu Rising.
Mhm.
It follows, four or five
Sure.
siblings in, of course, the Malibu area. Their dad is none other than Mick Riva. If you've read Daisy Jones and the Six, you will know who Mick Riva is. And
He's also in Seven Husbands.
yep, and he's also in Seven Husbands. So he's a character that gets. And Carrie Soto, the book she wrote,
Mhm.
she is in this book.
Oh,
So,
okay.
they're all connected,
They're all
ladies.
connected.
Ladies, they are all connected, but this book is about siblings and
Okay.
about living life and having to be the parent and like the big idea of this book and where the whole plot really takes place is at this party that the siblings are all throwing. And shit goes down. Sex, drugs,
Dang.
alcohol, all of it. Partying, crying. Such a good book. Highly recommend. Please read it. I cannot wait for the movie, if there's gonna be
Yes.
one.
I would love to see, like, kind of how they're doing Emily Henry's to do a Taylor Jenkins Reid's, like, cinematic universe and, like,
Yes.
have the same actors be popping up and such. That would be cool. Okay, next we have A Court of Silver Flames at
That's
number
crazy.
16.
That's crazy it's
This
on this
is
list.
my personal favorite ACOTAR book. This is Nesta's story. It is a story of a bit of a redemption arc, a training arc, learning to forgive yourself and love yourself with a lot of sex also.
Very smutty. Very
Very
smutty book.
smutty. It definitely if like the first 3
Sarah
are
Lecca.
YA and it's like cute smut, and then this one is like hands on the headboard, and that's all
This
you need to
book
know.
this book will, like, literally rock your world. You're like, "Oh my god, this is crazy." Yes, highly recommend. This is, like, top Sarah J. Maas book for me, like,
Yes.
obsessed. The next one is Book Lovers by speaking
Yes.
of Emily Henry, this one's my, like, out of the 3 I've
Yeah.
read, this one's ranks the lowest, but it was also my
Mm.
first Emily Henry book,
Mhm.
so I think that has a lot to do with it.
That's fair because
Mhm.
Happy Place would rank the lowest for me, and that was my first
Yeah,
one.
so I'm just saying maybe it's getting into the writing style a little bit, and then you
Perhaps.
take off with it, but we have read Book Lovers.
Though Book Lovers also features the main character, Nora. She's a bit of an unlikable FMC, and I know that some people struggle with that. She
That's
is
fair.
the cold-hearted stone bitch literary agent, and she gets her sister takes her during the summer to this small town where she has to interact with her number one enemy, the asshole Charlie, book editor, and they have to work together and fall in love. And she's like, who the hell put me in a Hallmark movie? Because her whole thing is she's like, I'm the type of girl, I'm the bad person in the Hallmark movie that, like,
Yeah.
you break up with to have your small town romance, and then she gets put in the small town romance.
Yeah, definitely a little bit different, but really, like It's a good book.
Yeah.
I highly recommend it. I, like, gave it to Aubrey for a reason. I'm like, "You should
Mhm.
read this. I think you'd like
Yeah,
it." Um,
and I did.
so, okay, we're nearing our top 10, but not quite yet. We're in our top 15. Colleen
Yes.
Hoover is back again. Reminders of him. I have not read this book, and I probably will not. But we have read the next one,
Yes!
Lessons in Chemistry, which has been, like, my
Amazing.
all-time favorite book club read.
Yes.
Love Lessons in Chemistry, and if you haven't seen the Apple TV series with Brie
Oh, I
Larson,
want to.
you have to watch it. It is they did such a good job with it. Really stuck true for the most part to the story. Lessons in Chemistry, yes, yes, yes. I just
Yes,
don't like
it's
this cover. But other than that,
oh, yeah. Yeah, it is the one that I have, though. You definitely have a prettier one. Lessons in Chemistry is the life story, and it takes you through a woman in the 50s, not in her
in
50s.
STEM,
A woman in
a
STEM
woman
in the
in STEM.
50s and how she has to kind of navigate that, but then it also deals with, like, personal stuff, and I don't wanna spoil anything because it's a whirlwind of a story, but it definitely is heavy on, like, found family, on being a woman, feminist literature. It's so, so good. I would recommend it to anyone and everyone.
Yes, yes. It's deep and dark but funny and oh gosh,
Yes.
it's just yeah. All right, back The Housemaid of course is
Yep.
number 12.
Mhm.
I knew this book was going to be up towards the top. I'm surprised it's actually not like closer to the
Yeah,
top.
higher.
But yes, we've not read this one, but
Nope.
very popular. And then we have Miss Emily Henry is just
Yes,
she is
double
the next
header.
2. She's 11 and 10, so People We Meet on Vacation and Beach Read.
Yes.
10 and 11, I have not read these yet,
Nope.
and I think I'm gonna wait until next spring, actually,
Yeah.
because I think I'm gonna do, like, an Emily Henry month with her
Mhm.
new book coming out, so I'm just going to, like, cross off all of the rest of the books I haven't read of hers and get ready for, like, the summer mindset. Who
Yes.
knows? Maybe my seasonal depression will have me craving some sunshine out of these books. But for right now, I'm excited, but not yet.
Yes, we also did just get beautiful versions of Beach Read, hardback, sprayed edges. So if you have a hardcover Emily Henry collection because you started at Happy Place like we did,
Yeah, there you
pick it up.
go.
A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. This is also got its own adaptation, film adaptation. I've heard good things about it. I'm not gonna read it, but
Yeah, I've heard great things about this. It was giving like the cover gave me like I read 13 Reasons Why in like
yeah.
7th grade and like it gave obviously like it's not what this book is.
Yeah.
It's not that deep, but I just like the vibe of it was like, "Oh
Uh-huh.
my god, I'm in 7th grade again." But I've heard great things about this series, especially the
Yes.
first 2 books. Oh my gosh, the guest list is on here. I can mark this shit off. Okay, I
There
thought this
you
book was way
go. Look at
older
that.
than 5 years. I mentioned the guest list earlier,
Mhm.
when with the Paris apartment, Lucy Foley. This story takes place, during a wedding, I believe, on it's been a
Mm.
while, guys. It's on an island in, like, off
Okay.
the coast of, like, Ireland, and
Ooh.
shit goes down. Shit goes down. It kinda reminds me of Lavender House a little bit, but,
Interesting.
like yeah. So, I recommend it. There was, like, a crazy plot twist. Me and my cousin read this together.
Is this like a mystery?
Yeah, it's not
Okay.
scary. It's like a mystery. I mean, it's scary in the way that, like, a mystery can
Yeah,
be,
yeah, yeah.
but
There's
it's not, like,
tension.
gory or
Okay.
anything. Yeah.
Next, you kind of read
Read this.
a little bit. Are you gonna count it or not?
I don't think I am, 'cause I'm not that bitch. I, like, kind of, like, DNF'd this sort of, like, I
Number
was
7, It
number
Starts
7.
With Us.
Yeah,
Money grab.
money grab. Um, I have to say it's a beautiful cover. My cousin may or may not have designed this cover, but sorry, Danielle. It was not a good book. And so
Mm-mm.
it just felt like such a money grab, and kind of pointless and
Yeah.
put a bad taste for Miss Colleen in my mouth. So skipping.
Yes. Number 6, we are almost to the top 5, which is crazy. We have The Love Hypothesis by Ali Hazelwood. We have
Raylo.
yeah, I was gonna say some Raylo fanfic. I think this was the first one, right? Um,
I think this was like Allie Hazelwood's like first book that like popped
yeah,
off.
yeah, yeah.
I
That
don't know if
that
it's her
that you would
first in her
know of.
situation, but yeah.
She always writes women in STEM. This one just might have been a little bit inspired by something else. I have not read it.
I haven't
I
either.
I don't plan on reading it, but I did enjoy her book Bride. So
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, Raylo, if you're a Star Wars fan, like there you go.
maybe it's for
Um
you.
Number 5 is The
Number
Invisible Life of Addie
5.
LaRue, another book club book. I read this
Yes.
one when it came out. Crazy, crazy story. If you
Yes.
want modern day Shakespeare written by a
Yes.
woman,
The prose is beautiful. It tells the story of Miss Addie LaRue, who, trying to escape an unwanted marriage, accidentally makes a deal with the devil to live forever, except no one will ever remember her. And every
yes.
time she meets a person, the second she's out of their vision for like 5 seconds or whatever, I don't know, a short period of time, they will forget she ever existed.
Yep.
And then, you know, maybe something changes.
Maybe there's a plot line.
Maybe we move forward from there. It's so good by
I
V.E. Schwab.
yes.
I loved it. It's so beautiful story. Yeah.
Yeah, it takes place. It goes from like the 1700s
Yeah,
or
something some old
1800s. I think it's 1800s. Yeah, from
France.
from like old France to like 2014 in like New
Yeah.
York, Paris, like kind of. So, really cool.
Really cool. Number 4, you've read this one.
Yes, number 4 is Daisy Jones and the Six. Of course, it's up here because that Hello Sunshine or whatever series adaptation, oh my
Yes.
gosh, popped off with Riley Kenow. I don't know. It's just Elvis Presley's granddaughter. That's all I know.
Yes.
And so yeah, this story popped off. It kind of loosely follows like Fleetwood Mac in the 70s.
Mm.
And that's written kind of like a dial the dialogue kind of reads like a script.
Mhm.
So it's pretty cool.
Isn't she like being interviewed? Like they're all being
Yes.
interviewed, and so there's like kind of like a before and past timeline. I do know that when the TV series came out, Stevie Nicks, is that the leader
Yeah.
of Fleetwood Mac? Um, put on her Instagram that watching it was like watching, like rewatching her life. Like that she said that it was very accurate, which is kind of fun because I mean, you don't know how dramatized. Obviously, it's dramatized, but so the fact that like the inspiration herself was like, no, no, man, that was kind of good.
Yeah, it's like spot on and just crazy. If you don't read the book,
Yes.
at least watch the series because it is wild.
Yes.
And you don't really know who you're rooting for. But what's her name? It starts with an S. I don't know. Robert Pattinson's baby mama is in it.
Oh, yes, Suki Waterhouse.
Suki Waterhouse, and she's so fucking cool in it. She's so
Yes.
cool. Her name's Karen. Karen. And so
It's a very aesthetic TV show. I haven't watched it, but I've seen enough clips to be, like,
yeah.
obsessed.
Yeah, so it's really good. So moving on, of
Alright.
course. Number 3, guys.
Number
I told you it was
3.
coming. I told you. We have Fourth
It's so
Wing.
high up there too. Like,
I
considering this is
know.
the all books published in the last 5 years, for it to have only come out, like, a year and a half ago and to make it to number 3, pop off,
Well, even in
Euros.
front of, like, Daisy Jones and the Six.
Yeah.
And it's a fantasy book. Like, Daisy
Ye
Jones and the Six moms are reading, teens are reading,
exactly.
dads are reading. Fourth Wing, it's like, "Whoa, that's crazy." And
Literally insane.
so, here we are, number 3, Fourth Wing.
Yes.
We have read it. I highly recommend it. It's a book that I haven't consumed that fast, and I don't cry when reading books,
Yes.
but I did
The
cry when reading this one.
the pacing is unbelievable with this one, y'all. You will not want to put it down. It is like Divergent, but
It is.
adult.
But
How to Train Your Dragon, but adult.
yes.
Do you wanna talk more about it?
It's okay, so the premise of Fourth Wing, if you live underneath a rock, is yeah, so think Divergent. There's these or even like Harry Potter kind of, like there's these houses, and when you reach a
Yes.
certain age, you kind of get sorted into these houses. There's the writer they're called quadrants. There's of course
Yes, it's
4
for,
quadrants.
like a war
A
college.
war college, and you
And so
gotta
pick
pick
your
one.
major is pick your
Pick your like discipline kind of.
Yeah.
So there's like the infantry, there's the healers, there's the scribes, and then there's the writers. And the
Yes.
writers are like those are the people that are like surging into battle versus like the
Mhm.
infantry. They're like, "Oh, here's your gun,
Yeah.
like your sword, like figure it
It's
out."
like your foot soldier versus, like, your specially trained Marine
Yeah,
Corps.
this is like yeah, like special operations. The idea of Fourth Wing and that Violet gets pushed into, that's our main character. She's like a
Yes.
book nerd. She has like
Yes.
chronic illness. She
Mhm.
like needs to be a scribe, obviously, but her mom is head of the like dragon people. And
Yes.
she's like, no, you're gonna be like your brother and sister, and you're going into the writer's quadrant. And her
Yep.
sister's like, Mom, literally, Violet's gonna die. Like, Violet's not
Yes,
fit
because
for this.
people do be dying. This
Yeah.
is not the school would not pass, like, federal regulations.
No, because literally kids are dropping dead every day, and so, like,
Mhm.
dying at this school is not like, "Oh, no." It's like, "Oh, there goes another one." Like, "Oh,
Yeah.
well. Oh gosh, it happened again." Like, "Oh." So,
Shit.
regardless, she goes on this epic adventure of
Mhm.
basically escaping like, this whole book is just Violet escaping death every day.
Yes.
Of course, there's dragons, and we meet our dragons. Every rider, once you hit a certain point, gets paired with a dragon. So we get that perspective. There's love interests,
Yes.
and, like, found family. And so
Yes.
the writing, the pacing, the storyline, the drama, the dragons, like, it is just amazing from start to finish. Um, and I cannot wait to see where this series goes. But the first one
Yes.
is 100 times better than the second book, so just enjoy
Uh-huh,
it
uh-huh.
while it lasts. And we will see you in January.
Yes. All right, number 2. I actually just made a TikTok about how I don't think I'm ever gonna read this book, and everyone was like, "No, you should. No, you should." And I was like,
Oh.
but I don't want to." It is by Matt Haig, The Midnight Library. This book is like literary fiction, very speculative fiction is the space that we are in. It follows a main character and she is trigger warning trying to kill herself. She's attempting suicide, and in that, she sees all of the different she goes to the Midnight Library, and she sees all of the different paths her life could have taken if she doesn't make that action. But it's kind of like giving that perspective on life and different types of life and why you should keep living. It's a
Uh,
really short book
it's
too.
so crazy. Like, I've seen this book pop up again and again and again.
Yeah.
And the fact that it's at number 2 is crazy to me.
I know, I didn't think it was that good. I didn't think it was that popular, we didn't read it.
Yeah.
But I do own it, so maybe one day.
Like, The Silent Patient doesn't really surprise me because
Yeah.
literally, like, I have seen this book pop up consistently. Like Song of Achilles isn't on here
I
or, like,
know, there's
Circe. And so but those kind of fell off, like, they had their moment, fell off, but
Mhm.
The Silent Patient and The Midnight Library have consistently kept pushing the line of
Yeah,
just
it's like if
staying
you can
relevant.
reach that, like, mom and dad crowd, like, if you can
Yes,
get, like, the Gen X of both
correct.
genders to read your book, like, that's what's really gonna be, like, pushing it.
I really think number 1, Silent Patient is that, and weirdly, I honestly think having it available on something like KU helps
Yeah.
it, and I think
Mhm.
that this is a book that I think I could see, like, a mom reading on, like, her phone or
Yeah.
something like that. I
It's
actually
what you're
know a
picking up
couple.
at the airport.
Yeah, exactly. I know, like, a couple dads that have read this, and it's like,
Mhm.
if they find out I'm a reader, they're like, "Oh, have you read The Silent Patient?" It's like,
No.
"No." But I just it's popular with, like, so many different age groups. So,
Do you know what it's about?
no, but I understand that it's about a
Yeah.
silent patient.
Yeah. You know what? The cover speaks for itself because that's all we know.
Yeah, it's kinda
And
creepy looking.
apparently a lot of y'all want to read it. I would love to know the math behind how many people have hit that they want to read this versus how many people have read it, because the fact that want to read plays into it. I feel like that cover's just been pushed so much.
Yeah. I clicked on it,
Mhm.
and it's popular when it says, like, "This friend and 21 others marked it as read."
Shit.
And only
Shit.
one friend and 2 other friends mark it as want to read. So out of
Okay.
all of my Goodreads, I don't have a lot of Goodreads friends, which means all of
Yeah.
my Goodreads friends have read this book.
I was like, I don't even need to check because we have like the same list.
It has like 2 million ratings.
Damn.
A famous painter married to an in-demand fashion photographer. She lives in a grand house with big windows overlooking a park in one of London's most desirable areas. One evening, her husband Gabriel returns home late from a fashion shoot, and
Okay.
Alicia shoots him 5 times in the face and then never speaks another word. Alicia's refusal to talk and or give any kind of explanation turns a domestic tragedy into something far grander.
Hmm.
So, is the government involved? Every
Uh,
time.
so cool.
Oh,
Um,
that's my new thing. But anyways, okay, so that's that. Yay!
Yay,
Number
so
1.
fun. Oh my gosh. All right, guys. How many have we read? I know your
Oh
number is going
crap.
to be higher than mine.
Um
So I have read 16 of the top 60 books published in the last 5 years.
oh, 5, 10, 15, 16, 17, 18. Wait, 5, 10, 15, 16, 17, 18. Damn it, I'm at 19. Damn it. Okay, it starts with us 20. No, I've read 19. 19 books out of 60. Not too bad. Come on. Like,
No,
we're
no.
fantasy girls. The fact that, like, we.
Yeah, I mean, cuz guys, we read like every fantasy book on here, or at least own.
Yeah, exactly. But not too bad.
No, look at us. I feel good with that. I don't feel bad at all. There's someone here that is also on our want to read, so we could fill it out a little bit more over time. But thank you, Goodreads, for that mathy list.
Yes. So please, as always, we love hearing what books on this list you recommend for us to read. What
Yes.
books now do we think will be on this in 5 years?
Ooh,
Would that
that's a
be
good
crazy?
one.
Um,
Yeah.
and as always, we love recommendations. Follow us at the Hardcover Podcast everywhere: TikTok, Instagram,
Yes.
Spotify. We're on Apple Music. And so if you just want to drive and listen to our beautiful, beautiful voices, um, we're
We
there
sound like
too.
angels.
Yes.
All right, y'all. Thank you so much for joining us and happy reading.
I just got
Coffee just
yeah. Oh, I got really enthusiastic about the.
Damn.
Oh.